Hello and welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Dan. On this week's show, we got a lot of medical tips to keep us staying healthy all throughout 2024, with suggestions such as this.
Prickly pear cactus, it works to help promote healing, to soothe, to rebuild the lining of the gut.
Best thing you can do is just minimize your exposure.
All that and more right here on New Mexico Rising. As the cold and flu season hits full swing, we're diving into the world of effective remedies with Dr. Nazlie Latefi, a pioneer in respiratory health research. From debunking common misconceptions to exploring groundbreaking treatments, Dr. Latefi is here to give us the science of staying healthy. Welcome to the show, Dr. Latefi. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. This is a subject I'm really passionate about speaking about. I'm a scientist who studied the respiratory system for over 10 years, and yeah, would love to do some myth busting with you.
Let's do this. All right, as everyone's joining and getting together for like the holidays, how can one avoid getting the cold and or flu? Because I don't want it. Nobody wants it.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's really nothing you can do to avoid getting the cold and flu. You will get it. Masks, hand washing, vaccines, they work, but they're not 100%. So the best thing you can do is just minimize your exposure, make sure you don't get them as often. And when you do get them, try to fortify your immune system. Actually fortify your immune system before you get them. So when you do get them, they won't last as long.
So why was phenylephrine approved as safe and effective by the FDA in the first place?
So that's a great question. Phenylephrine came on the market along with several other products like dextromethorphan, guaifenesin, and pseudoephedrine in the 1950s. And there was really no science behind them. So, they were just based on basically customer experience. And what they do is actually numb your nerve endings. So you feel like, oh, everything's gone, right? And, it's almost immediate, but it comes back with a vengeance because they really do nothing for the underlying inflammation. And your cold symptoms are really caused by inflammation. And so that's what we work on with Biovanta. We have a unique formulation, scientifically validated in published peer-reviewed scientific publications. Natural molecules work together to very effectively reduce inflammation at your respiratory lining and also to boost your immunity.
So how can consumers best educate themselves about the products that are actually on the market now?
So you can Google phenylephrine and see all the news that's been put out about it. And that's a good starting point for why these got on the market in the first place. And you can see, if you Google the clinical efficacy, that there's really nothing behind these ingredients. And, to do some myth busting is that, these have been studied in clinical trials for many decades, and they haven't been found effective. There is zinc and vitamin C in a lot of cold products, and those are great to take long term, along with omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D. But these won't help you. Zinc and vitamin C, even though they're in a lot of cold products, they won't help you when you're actually sick. So the best thing to do is make sure you get these nutrients long term. And also honey, which a lot of people like, is one of the most beloved cold remedies. And its main ingredient, one of the ingredients in honey that's been most studied, is called lysozyme. And we have that in our formulation in Biovanta, along with other really powerful natural molecules that we spent years formulating to work together that actually work. And if you while you're on Google, Googling those other ingredients, if you Google our ingredients and go to our website, biovanta.com, you can see how everything works together. And don't take my word for it, learn for yourself. I mean, there's a lot of education that needs to be had in this space. And so we're basically just spreading the word and hopefully helping people get better in the meantime.
So where can we go for more information?
For more information, go to biovanta.com.
Artificial intelligence, AI, it's going to change how we work. And, you know, the employers know it. There's a new study by Amazon Web Services and Access Partnership that reveals that 73% of employers prioritize hiring AI-skilled talent, but 3 out of 4 say they cannot meet their talent needs. Jenni Troutman, Director of Products and Services at AWS Training and Certification, is joining us live from Houston this morning with more details about the types of cloud computing skills employers seek and how you can take advantage of free training. So welcome to the show. Good morning, Jenni. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me.
All right, there's a lot of confusion about AI and how it impacts our world. Can you first explain, let's get to the basics. What is AI?
Yes, AI, or artificial intelligence, is a field of computer science that's dedicated to solving problems that really traditionally have required human intelligence. So that's things like recognizing images, speech, playing games, even driving cars. A type of AI that most of us have been exposed to for a long time is actually our Amazon.com shopping experience. So when you go on to Amazon and you have recommendations surfaced to you, and those recommendations are changing each time you come on based on what you've searched for, what you've purchased, what other people might have searched for that purchase similar things, that is AI in action, changing those recommendations based on your behavior.
And can you tell us about the study that was done?
Yes. So at Amazon Web Services, AWS, we recognize that the way people work is changing dramatically. How businesses are operating, how individuals like me and you were actually working differently. And so we wanted to understand, what is the value of people building skills in AI? What's the value of that time? And so in this study, we went out and we surveyed organizations. We found out that not only are they trying to hire those skills, but they're willing to pay for them. And it's not just technical people.
What kind of AI skills will people in like non-technical jobs need for AI-enabled future of work?
Yes, so we believe that in the future, we'll be using assistants, AI-based assistants in most of our jobs. So if you think about, for example, a marketer who might go and look for business intelligence, maybe they're looking to grow sales in another part of the world, and they'll ask for some sales data to help them figure out how they want to target their marketing. Today, they might ask for the data, and then they might want to keep changing it, layering on different segmentation or layering on different technologies or products. And every time they go back and want to change that intelligence or that information, they're having to wait to get the reports back, to get the insights back. If they use a tool that is AI powered, they actually get all that information real time. So instead of having to wait days or weeks to get the insights they need to make their investment decisions, they can keep changing the insights and making those decisions real time, which makes them much more highly effective in their roles. That's one example, but it's relevant for all different roles, depending on the tools that are relevant to help them do their jobs.
So what is Amazon Web Services doing to like step up and close this gap?
So we want everyone everywhere to be able to learn that's interested in learning. We're making courses available to people who may not have had access to them traditionally. So people in the workforce, we've provided over 100 courses online, most of them free, for you to be able to go on and, based on your role, learn about cloud and AI technology in order to be able to build those skills. But we also realize that this isn't going away. This is the future, and people at all ages need to learn about AI and what's possible. So we've also partnered with code.org to have a fun interactive learning experience to gain interest in this technology in the elementary schools all the way from K-12. And we've also provided an AWS Generative AI scholarship for high school and college age students, more than 50,000, to be able to go learn about generative AI and actually earn a certificate that shows they've built those skills.
And finally, where can our viewers learn more about AWS's free cloud skills training?
Yes, if you go to aboutamazon.com/29million, you'll find all kinds of programs, tools, and courses available to you based on what it is you're trying to learn and your existing skill level.
Jenni, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
As the holiday season ramps up, so do the challenges for retail stores. With safety being a top concern, today we're delving into the world of retail crime and the innovative ways to combat it. Joining us today are two experts in the field. We got Mike Shore, Vice President and General Manager of Enterprise at Axon, and Khris Hamlin, Vice President of Asset Protection at the Retail Industry Leaders Association. Hey, we got to find out the realities of retail crime, its impact on employees, and how cutting-edge technology from law enforcement can be a game changer in assuring a safer retail environment. Welcome to the show, Mike and Khris. How are you guys?
Good. Good morning.
Good. Thanks for having us.
All right, so what are some like the recent statistics on retail theft in the United States?
You know, Dan, before we get into statistics, when you think about retail theft in the United States, it really hinges on two major issues. You know, number one, these criminal actors out there, they look at this as a low risk, high reward type of behavior. And second to that, you know, coming out of the pandemic, we got conditioned as the consumer on shopping online. It's easy, it's fun. And these criminal actors, they really exploit that. They use those online marketplaces to be able to sell stolen goods, the counterfeit goods, which is caused an uptick in grab and run thefts and these high violent offenses that are happening across the retail industry, to include smash and grab thefts that are out there. It brings a really challenging situation to those retailers.
Can you tell us like about the survey that Axon recently conducted, and what were some of the key takeaways?
Sure. So Axon conducted a survey of 1,200 U.S. retail associates, which represent a population of 21 million workers in the U.S., a really broad population. The results we found were quite disturbing. 2/3 of these associates have been witnesses to theft. About half of them have experienced workplace violence. Put simply, these employees do not feel safe at work, and this is a major challenge that we've got to figure out.
So what do you guys recommend like doing, or the security professionals recommend trying to combat some of this retail crime?
Well, you know, traditionally then security professionals have used the security devices to lock up merchandise. They've increased their security personnel within their stores. But what we've seen recently is security professionals are using a multi-pronged approach. They're using collaboration, partnerships, and technology to be able to combat these. And at RELA, we launched our Vibrant Communities Initiative this past summer. And the Vibrant Communities Initiative is geared at ending recidivism, looking at ways to go after those habitual theft offenders that are out there, and also leveraging social service entities to deal with those individuals that have social services crises or need that intervention from a social service entity. And then also looking at the way of leveraging the technology to be able to tie all of these events together to give prosecutors a stronger case to be able to go after prosecution.
So what technology does law enforcement use to de-escalate violence, and can it actually be applied to this retail environment?
Yeah, that's where Axon comes into the picture. And so when Khris talks about public and private collaboration, we're a key partner to RELA and to retailers. And so the background of the company, we've been serving public safety for about 30 years with technology. Our sort of namesake product, the electrical weapon, the taser, is really how we sort of evolved and got started. We put cameras on the bottoms of those weapons to understand the context of what occurred. That got us into the world of body cameras and software. Fast forward to today, you know, post-COVID, a lot of retailers were struggling with some of the challenges that we've seen in law enforcement, primarily around frontline safety. Retailers began to deploy these solutions such as tasers on their security guards, and we're increasingly seeing adoption of body-worn cameras in our software evidence.com. Primarily, the benefits of those technologies are, on the front end, deterrence and de-escalation. If the store is properly equipped, they're going to be a less attractive target to these criminals. Secondly, during an incident, being able to live stream to responding either security, law enforcement, or possibly sending the appropriate response, which could be a social services worker. And last, after an incident, being able to properly investigate what occurred and then share it with law enforcement and district attorneys where they're already working. Every single major city in the U.S. is using evidence.com. We're seeing the benefit of bringing retailers onto that platform. So everybody's got a common operating picture, from retailers to law enforcement to district attorneys, on how to package these cases all the way through adjudication.
Thank you, too, for joining me this morning. Where can our viewers go for more information and learn about all this stuff?
Absolutely. To seek out RELA and learn more about the Vibrant Communities Initiative, you go to RILA.org/AP. And I'd urge you to take a look at what Vibrant Communities is doing and what it can do within your community.
And for Axon, you can check out axon.com/retail, and you'll find our comprehensive resources there specifically designed for retailers.
Well, thank you, too, for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having us.
You know, pediatricians have long been sounding alarm on the dangers of flavored tobacco in hooking children and teens to addictive products like cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigarettes. Classified by many pediatricians as a pediatric disease, tobacco use almost always begins during adolescence. Young people are uniquely vulnerable to the highly addictive nature of nicotine. We all know why. Often turning teenage experimentation into a lifelong addiction. And joining us is Dr. Nia Hurd-Garris, a renowned pediatrician and spokesperson for the American Academy of Pediatrics, here to talk about what we can do about it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And you hit the nail on the head. Those are all the things we want people to know. Highly addictive. We gotta move this forward.
So what is the proposed ban on menthol cigarettes?
Yeah, so we need urgent action from the White House to eliminate menthol cigarettes and also flavored cigars from the market. The longer that we have these dangerous products on the market, the longer young people will actually be at risk for a lifelong nicotine addiction, especially youth in Black communities. So we need these products off the market.
So what does a potential delay mean for like children's health?
So a potential delay actually means lost lives, and we do not want that to happen. Delaying action to remove these products from the market is dangerous, and it's a major missed opportunity to protect children and teens. And without that action, especially children from Black communities will be disproportionately impacted. It's no surprise that 85% of smokers that are Black use menthol. So failing to act really means they're going to continue to be addicted to nicotine, and we're going to continue to see cancer deaths, and we're going to miss an opportunity to really help teens and young children.
So why do you think menthol and flavored tobacco products are more addictive?
Right. Well, studies show that flavors in general are a primary reason that young people experiment and get hooked with tobacco products in general, just because the flavor is appealing to kids, it's mint, it's cooling in the throat. So it reduces that harshness of tobacco smoke and makes menthols just more appealing and easier to use for children. And so the more that we link flavors and smoking, the more children are going to continue to be drawn to it. And it's highly, highly addictive. So starting, as young as 12, kids can use it for their entire lives.
So what steps do you think parents and policymakers can take to protect or even just sway children?
Absolutely. We need parents and policymakers alike to have the White House, act now. So pediatricians are attuned to this issue. Parents can talk to their pediatricians about this. Policymakers, we really need urgent action by the White House to eliminate menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars from the market once and for all. It's past time that we do this to protect children. It's not surprising that the tobacco industry is opposing these regulations. They want to keep customers from 12 up until they grow up. But it's surprising that the Biden administration really is prioritizing the tobacco industry over child health. So we need urgent action right now.
All right, where can we go for more information about any of this?
So go to aap.org/tobacco to learn more about tobacco and child health. And parents can talk to their pediatricians, but everyone can go to aap.org/tobacco.
Thanks for joining me this morning, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
Amid the festive cheer, many Americans face a hidden challenge: the increasing threat of financial scams. So how do we protect ourselves and our loved ones from scam artists, especially during this holiday season, and how crafty they're getting lately? So today, we're joined by Mike Steinbach, a seasoned expert in fraud prevention at Citi and former FBI agent who has a unique blend of expertise from his FBI background and a current role at Citi. Welcome to the show, Mike. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so what percentage of U.S. adults feel confident they could fend off financial scams, and why are so many people scammed?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'll start with the second part of that, right? We in Americans have this overconfidence, right? We're too busy, too distracted, too smart. It's not going to happen to us. But the reality is frauds don't discriminate. They focus on all demographics, young, old, wealthy, living paycheck to paycheck, those with PhDs and GEDs. And so what our data says to us and what it shows is that there's this overconfidence. A full 90% of Americans believe they have the tools and they can fend off fraud attacks. But in reality, over a quarter of those same people have been the victims of scams.
So why are holidays a time to be even more vigilant and protecting yourself from scams?
Yeah, fraudsters evolve their tactics for the season. They focus year round. But in the holidays, think about the mindset, right? We are busy, we're distracted, we're finishing up work, we're trying to get prepared for the holidays, online shopping, increased package deliveries. All of these things are great for the fraudster.
So what are some like common scam strategies and tactics used against people?
Yeah, the fraudsters are very agile. They focus their attention in a number of ways. Some of the attacks that we're seeing more recently, quite frankly, we're seeing impersonation scams, bank impersonation scams, where you get a call or a text or an email from your bank stating that you have been the victim of fraud and asking you to move your money. Let me tell you, a bank will never ask you to move your money. That's a scam. Some of the other scenarios we're seeing, particularly around the holidays, are package delivery scams, missed deliveries, delayed deliveries, asking you to click on a link and then input information. Again, that's a scam. Those are just some of the scenarios, but it's important to recognize that the scams change with the season.
So how can we avoid scams and like secure our accounts even more?
Yeah, you have to start with the right mindset. Familiarize yourself with the types of attack. Focus on protecting your personal information. Trust your instincts. Don't accept or be suspicious of any incoming communication, regardless of what the kind of communication it is. And then partner with your bank. Enable biometric login. Add two-factor authentication. Create long, unique passwords. Set up account alerts. And then spend a couple minutes each day checking your transaction history. Those are some of the things you can do. I can tell you that there's lots more information out there. We have a website dedicated to this, citi.com/fraud prevention, where I go into detail about just the types of things you can do to protect yourself.
Well, thank you, Mike, for joining me this morning. Where can we go for more information?
Yep, as I mentioned, there's lots of information out there, but in particular, citi.com/fraud prevention is a great site. We talk about some of the techniques that you can use to prevent fraud from happening or occurring against you, as well as give you information on some of the latest scams that we're seeing out there.
Thanks for Mike for joining me this morning.
No problem. Happy to do it.
Did you know that 60 million Americans experience heartburn monthly? This common discomfort becomes more pronounced during the holidays with festive indulgences. But it's not just about temporary relief. A groundbreaking study in the Journal of Neurology highlights a startling connection between long-term heartburn medication and an increased risk of dementia. Today, we're joined by Sherry Torkos, an integrative pharmacist who is here to let us know about the impact of heartburn, the alarming findings of this new study, and safer alternatives for managing heartburn. Welcome to the show, Sherry. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Thank you.
So what causes heartburn and how common is it?
So heartburn happens when we have stomach acid that refluxes from the gut up into the esophagus and in the throat area and causes that burning pain that's noticed in the chest area. Hence, we call it heartburn. And it's uncomfortable. It's painful. And sometimes people get an acidic taste in their mouth, like a sour taste. And it's a very common condition. In fact, most people will experience heartburn at some point in their lives. And for 60 million Americans, this is a monthly problem. Now, in terms of risk factors, if you're carrying extra weight, especially around your belly, that can put pressure on the stomach contents and make it easier to reflux up into the esophagus. Pregnancy is a risk factor. Smoking, overeating, eating spicy food, carbonated beverages, alcohol, and stress. I mean, who's stressed during the holidays, right?
So what does the new study from the Journal of Neurology tell us about the frequent heartburn medications and dementia?
Yeah, so it's very scary and very alarming. And this study adds to a growing body of evidence that is connecting the chronic use of a class of drugs called PPIs, or proton pump inhibitors, to dementia. And in this particular study, what they found is that people that were taking these proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, for 4 years, cumulative use, they had a 33% greater risk of dementia compared to people who had never taken these medications. And there have been other studies. One study that I came across a couple of years ago, over 73,000 people that found people that were taking them for a 5-year period of time had a 44% increased risk of dementia. So there's a strong connection. A few factors may be at play. The use of these drugs is associated with certain deficiency of vitamin B12, Magnesium, researchers believe that may be part of it because B12 in particular is super important for cognitive health, brain health, cognitive function, deficiency of magnesium, and also an imbalance in the good bacteria in our gut that may be playing a role as well.
Is there a safe way to like prevent and treat occasional heartburn after it happens?
Prevention is key, right? So when we're looking at ways that we can prevent heartburn, it begins with our lifestyle habits. So trying to reduce portion size, which is hard during the holidays, but taking one helping of something versus 2 or 3, smaller meals, eating slowly, chewing your food more thoroughly, that helps to aid digestion. Taking a digestive enzyme at the beginning of your meal can also help by ensuring the proper breakdown of protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So a good digestive enzyme would be helpful. If you do get heartburn, before you reach for the over-the-counter drugs, which of course do cause a lot of side effects, not just increased risk of dementia, but increased risk of fractures and other problems, what I would recommend is a natural-based formula called Heartburn Soothe, and it contains alginate and prickly pear cactus. And together those ingredients work to help improve digestion, to prevent the acids from refluxing up the esophagus. The alginate actually forms like a gel-like barrier on the top of the stomach contents. And if you can picture it, it's almost like a raft on the top of the stomach contents that prevents the acid from refluxing up. So that's the alginate. And then the prickly pear cactus, it works to help promote healing, to soothe, to rebuild the lining of the gut, which is often damaged by stomach acid. So this Heartburn Soothe is something that you would take right after a meal. It's 2 chewable tablets. As a pharmacist, I like it because it works quick, it's safe, and it's science-based. The other piece of advice that I would share to listeners and viewers is that it's important after you have a big meal to not lay down, to stay upright, because if you lay down, it makes it easier for food and acid to reflux up your esophagus. So don't do anything too vigorous or strenuous in terms of exercise, but stay upright, go for a light walk, maybe take the dog for a walk or go out with your family after dinner versus retiring to the couch and lying down.
Sherry Torkos, thanks for joining me this morning. Where can we go for more information about any of this?
You can check out my website, sherrytorkos.com, SherryTorkos. I posted a blog on holiday heartburn and what you can do to prevent and manage it.
Thanks for joining me this morning, Sherry.
Thanks for having me.
And that is it for New Mexico Rising. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show this week. If you want to be on the show, all you got to do is email me. That's newmexicorising@gmail.com. Or go to our website, newmexicorising.com. We got a lot of merch and other small things up there that you can buy. Plus, we got some giveaways on there that you can purchase for $0. We got some stuff in from a couple of our guests. They go quickly, so first come, first serve. Jump on our website, check those out, and get those for $0. All you got to do is pay the shipping, such as books and I think a couple of DVDs. It's all right there on newmexicorising.com. Follow us on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram. Until next week, that was New Mexico Rising.
Hey Dan, I'm here at Elysium Therapeutics right now. We're getting ready to do a Thai massage pretty soon. This is Ludo, my therapy dog. So I started this business in 2018. I am a licensed massage therapist. I graduated from UTMI, and my specialties are Thai table massage and Ashiatsu.